We're live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the host, Paul. And this is another special episode of the Nerdy Up North podcast where it's Reviews Up North, where we're reviewing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Just before we went live, we are having a few little bit of technical issues. So we've got the amazing Goodwill, Captain Goodwill from his adventures of the Starship Enterprise, or Adequate last night, sorry. Sorry, I've forgotten me role already there, Goodwill. And we are trying to get him back. We had Jake, who joined us watching it here, so he might pop back when we can get him there.
Whoa. Oh,
did somebody say time travel movie?
He's been warped by the time warp there.
I'm in the time stream. Hello, did I miss anything?
Just us slagging you off, it's fine.
Cool. This is a North. Is this a time machine?
Oh, boom!
Oh.
You're not in the chat now, Goodwill.
No pun will in here.
No. So yes, we had an adventure out. Us nerds left the house and
left our house.
Yes,
it was horrible. There was sunshine and everything.
It's grim up north, people.
And socialised and went to the cinema together and actually seen people, which was quite nice. Saw each other, and my lovely wife joined us, but she refuses to be on the podcast, so it's not going to see a nice video of her. But yes,
shame. We
decided we were going to take a stab in the dark and see what could be a masterpiece, or it could be a mess of what was the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So, does Sammy want to get a disclaimer out first?
I think I need to.
Right.
So everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group or the comment section and we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
Very well done.
Yeah.
She said that on the BBC as well, guys. I hope you realise that.
I did, and I'll be riding that boat right the way into the
and we all know how Sammy likes to ride.
Wow, it's Saturday afternoon, man.
Quality riding times, yes. So we'll get on to the easy stuff first. So did you enjoy the movie, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Thoroughly. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed this movie.
Great. What about you, Goodwill?
Better than the Crystal Skull.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I mean, that was a given, but yep.
Yeah.
And what about you, Jake?
Yeah, like at the start I was really worried that it was going to be terrible because it started off with CGI face, Harrison Ford, de-aged and looking totally creepy. So that scared me because I was like, uh-oh, the bad CGI is back. But after we went back to his present time, we got just a fun adventure romp like the old days with, like, as far as I could tell, real car chases, practical effects, things, guns, explosions, like everything you want.
Yeah.
No, definitely. So my response is yes, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good action movie. I didn't think it was a good Indiana Jones movie, being honest with you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably my hot take of the moment. If you take the Indiana Jones element out of it, I would have probably enjoyed it more, and that's probably down to nostalgia and like having a pre mindset going in. But yes, Jake is very much right. Even though Jake is the hero of the day today, guys, Cinema World, sort your projectors out, please. If the word focus comes in, we are not blind. We all wear glasses, and that was blurry shit there. Even though
I actually thought I had glaucoma.
I genuinely thought it was part of the movie because obviously we've taken a step back in time. What we should point out as well, spoilers. And if you're watching this, please, dear God, I hope you've watched the movie beforehand. But yeah, I genuinely thought that was the way it was supposed to be because we'd gone back to the 40s. And I was like, oh God, that's really clever. And then Jake leaves, comes back and a woman's behind him. And then all of a sudden, it looks clearer again, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
They were very friendly about it. But yeah, I don't know what happened. It went black for a second as well. I was like, oh,
Yes,
I broke the movie.
Is that on the back of that?
I will say, for all, yes, de-aging is inherently creepy. I think they did it really well in this film.
Oh, I thought it was sick. I hated every second of it.
I thought it was fine.
It's the best de-aging I've seen on screen so far.
It's exactly what I said.
It's no Luke Skywalker. It's no Grand Admiral Tarkin. It was
Moff.
Really, it was.
It was a bit clearer. It was a bit cleaner than what we've seen. Yeah,
and the way the face was animated during movements was a lot better.
Yeah. There was some moments to the side where it looked a bit janky.
It looked really long. He looked like Ganondorf from the side because they were like, Harrison Ford's got a big nose, and I'm like, it's not that big, guys. I'm sorry.
I think when they went into the water, when they jumped off the train, like this movie is full of great action set pieces and stuff. 100%. As well.
Yeah.
But the train where they went like full multiverse of madness and stuff, and he jumped into the water, that's when you could tell really badly because like they were doing like de-aging and a water effect on it as well. It just didn't work for me that bit. That's where it took us out.
I think that was the grossest part where he like turned back and gave him the dial on the shores, and I was like, oh no.
I think they tried to compensate it with the extreme low light.
Yeah.
As well.
That's the age-old CGI trick, isn't it? From the
old days. Yeah. But I thought it was a clean cut of de-aging that was. I don't know. I didn't find it that terrible. I even said to good. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's pretty good.
It's a shame because if you need to do a flashback, there's not much you can do with makeup for Harrison Ford at this stage. The way I would have went with it is have it a fake movie that he was going to see, but then that would change his like standing in the world because it was very much a story of like how he's absolutely forgotten, like barely anyone remembers who he is.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah,
remember that scene in what was it? Is it the Last Crusade? The Last Crusade, where he's in his classroom and everyone's paying attention, everyone's swooning over him, and then to be in a position where he's older now and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
nobody was. They really didn't give a shit about.
It was a good callback, like to the first movie.
I really feel that the blueprint in this for me felt very similar to Last Crusade. I just felt like there was a lot of beats in it that kind of like met up with that. But I could say that about all three of them, to be honest. Not the fourth one. I think that was we'll just put that to one side. But the first three, I feel like there was elements and beats in there that kind of, yes, the ones that are behind Goodwill right now, that kind of fitted in with this movie, and I feel that's why I enjoyed it. I mean, the ending. Again, it's an Indiana Jones film, so far-fetched can be put out there, but I didn't hate it.
Well, to be fair though, like say if you're going to go far-fetched, like we're talking about like the Holy Grail, we're talking about an ark that can talk to God and melt Nazis' faces. So anything that so time travel isn't that far-fetched. Let's be honest.
No,
I think it was. Do you think like before? And I suppose there was all like Temple of Doom stuff where he was seeing like voodoo magic, but like I guess like do you think? There used to be like he doesn't see it because obviously he shuts his eyes for the arc. He just knows everyone exploded. Like I guess like now they're just like Indy sees the magic like happen, and I guess
it's more because I mean even he said like he believes in the science of it, but he still questions stuff. And I think that there was a lot of negativity towards this film before it came out because they were like, oh, it's going to be time travel, it's going to be this, and it's like, right, first of all, Ark of the fucking Covenant that talks to God and has ghosts in it. You have a dude that rips out another dude's heart, Alima. And then obviously the Last Crusade, you have Jesus's coffee mug and you have a Knights Templar who's been there for a good couple of thousand years. Get a fucking grip. Mystical shit happens, right?
Yeah.
And Indiana Jones, but also, he's like, I believe in the science, which he all the way through the film, he believes in the science. He believes in the science. But there is things that science cannot explain.
Like, and he embraces jumping out of a plane with a raft and surviving.
Yes, there's a lot of moments in there where you're like, oh, okay. I tell you what, I did notice in this movie, and it's something that has been lacking in a lot of Harrison Ford movies, over the past few years. This guy looked like he was having fun.
Yes.
Yeah. True.
He looked happy.
The way I would describe this movie, though, it wasn't Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It was Indiana Jones and the Sad Old Man. that's what it felt like all the way through, though. Bless him.
Yeah, he had some moments of kind of like, oh, he maybe like coming back a bit, but it was the end line when she says, "Are you really back?" and obviously the symbolism with the hat at the end and pulling the hat back in, like.
And I guess like
I think I don't know if this could be the end. I know that Harrison Ford has said it is, but
can it now?
He can't. This is a setup. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is a setup. If they're going to do it with Phoebe Waller-Bridge,
better than
I don't think it would carry.
Better than Shia LaBeouf. But it's better than Shia LaBeouf.
I wouldn't.
Did you guys think it was interesting that they used the Shia LaBeouf thing as like a plot point? Because like. They were like, he died in the war, and then that broke up like the marriage and sort of like made Indy disassociate so bad.
Yeah,
he got like completely isolated from everyone.
I
like
think
that's an interesting way to do it. I'm not sure if it was like owned by Crystal Skull, if that makes sense.
I think it was a way to explain away Shia LaBeouf.
And Marion's relationship and like the breakdown, because when we had the Crystal Skull, they were solid. They knew their place, so it would take something fundamentally massive to break that kind of connection. So I quite like that element to it.
Oh, me too. But I just feel like they didn't really elaborate a lot on it. You hear him say it once that he lost his son late on, and you get the impression. I mean, obviously, you see the papers from him and Marion separating, and then, but it's not really kind of like brought up as in discussed a lot, which I didn't mind actually. I like the subtlety of it.
No, I think I think the story didn't need it, because this was, as Jake said at the start, this was a story about the man out of time, basically the forgotten man, and how would you feel being like the ultimate adventurer and not knowing your place in the world, where the world's obsessed with going on new adventures, like out of space, like. And
that was the.
And beginning. Now it's kind of like Indy's trying to think, and that's why you said that he was a broken Indy as well. And I was glad that we saw more of that. Like when we moved away from like the first 10 minutes of the CGI, which was a good plot. But the only thing I laughed about as well, because Mads Mikkelsen was an amazing bad guy, like one of the top tier levels.
One of the top tier, because it does it so well.
And with Indiana Jones as well, when you bring Nazis into it as well, it's just gold. Indiana Jones versus Nazis works every time. That should be just Indy fighting Nazis throughout time. That's where we got that basically. But Mads Mikkelsen character, all they did was give him grey hair and a scar.
Yeah,
I was like, Indiana Jones, bless him, like Harrison Ford's aged really badly. Is like, has he been using like a skincare range or something like that?
You know what? I genuinely thought
I
thought they were hinting towards something, like he'd figured out like part of the dial, you know, like to like leap a bit ahead, but they didn't mean that at all.
Mine and Goodwill's reaction to the clunk was, because I felt that. I don't know if anyone else felt that
on the train. Yeah.
Me and Michael like kind of moved out of our seats when it happened.
It was a good hit, yeah.
It was, but wait, that scar, is that all he got?
I was thinking he was going to be like I thought he was going to have like prosthetics on, and like later on he would be like all creepy.
Did anyone else feel though? And I felt this throughout, that his character was underused slightly.
Yeah.
Or do you think we got a good balance?
It was
like I thought his like backstory was like super interesting, where they were like, oh, he's an Operation Paperclip like Nazi scientist.
Oh yeah.
But like I don't think they wanted to like dive too deep on that, maybe because it like shows America in a weird light. But
potentially.
I thought like the little drips we got, like Paul said, he was like an excellent villain, because like he's exactly the foil for like Indy, where like he's not like a big fighter or anything, but he has henchmen, and he always shows up like at the worst possible time for Indy, like when they're halfway through solving a puzzle.
I loved his line to the waiter in the hotel when he's getting room service, and he's asking the waiter, "Did you serve?" And the waiter's like, "Oh, I put the balloons up at Nombi to stop the strike," and he said, "You didn't win the war. Hitler lost it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, it was so cold."
Yeah, but that's Mads Mikkelsen all over. Yeah. He has calm and collective just ingrained in him to where he's always played a good bad guy. I'm not a Bond fan at all, but it's the only Bond movie I've watched is the one with him in this Casino, because there's something electric about him when he's a dick.
Yeah,
and they let him have a cigarette as well, which is like,
I know that was a no-no, especially in Disney films as well. I was like, Jesus, and
it was a proper cigarette as well.
Yeah.
But
none of this tip stuff.
I thought it was quite interesting as well, because I think they'll try to go at the whole Thanos type of like villain with him, where he not saying Nazis were in the right, where he's kind of like so single-minded, saying it's not the Nazi party that was wrong, it was Hitler that was wrong. It was Hitler that made mistakes.
Yeah.
If they take out Hitler, then he could lead them to the better land. So it's kind of like the Thanos type situation where he's like, I'm going to right the wrongs of the past by doing what he did. So it was interesting there, but the whole CIA is as well. And the only thing I wanted a bit more backstory was his like goons, because his goons are quite interesting. But you never really
why was like the Corinthian guy from Sandman, why was he with him? Like, because he sounded American.
He's also in what's it called?
Logan.
Oh, Logan, that's it. He is so good. He is so villainous. It's brilliant.
You just want to punch him in the face.
Oh, absolutely. He's got one of those faces you just want to repeatedly punch, but he's just so bloody fantastic to watch.
But like Paul said, like I would have liked to know why he was like joining the Nazi party, because they never really mentioned it.
Power, isn't it? When it comes to stuff like that, it's always power, greed, and getting away with doing whatever the fuck you want. And then uniforms. My God, the costumes in this film was, oh my God, there was no lacking of attention to detail.
I did think it was pretty surprising to see Mads Mikkelsen with just a full-on swastika armband. I'm like, okay.
I know, especially where he's from as well. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Me too. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh gosh.
I was reading something about like the older films, and I think like they literally had like real uniforms, but then they were having people like they were saying like cross your fingers behind your back when you do the Nazi salute, because like nobody wanted to do it. It's always dodgy ground, really, isn't it? Like asking actors to do that stuff, but I guess they wanted realism.
I did like it when all the soldiers in the train did it to Indy and he just stared them down.
That's another good callback, because he always ends up dressed up as a Nazi.
Yes, he does.
Wander around.
Sorry. No, go on.
It's the bit where, obviously in the opening scenes where young Indy's being chased through the train, and the leader, because Indy locks a load of soldiers in one of the train carriages, and the leader goes and unlocks it, and they're just like, he opens it on and they just go, and he's like,
get on with
it. What are you doing? Just go get him.
You do not need to salute me at this point.
See, that's the heavy hand that always makes them lose, isn't it?
Well, it's like, I think me and Goodwill had a conversation on Star Trek and last night. It's like we were talking about like Captain Kirk and I can't remember her name now. My brain's just fried. Just walked out of the store, stole clothes, and didn't get picked up, and we're like, oh, like, of course people's not going to stop. I was like, if you act confidently enough and like have a presence, like to protect, if you believe in so much that you believe somewhere, people will believe, and that's like the Indiana Jones effect here. He's walking through the train, pretend to be a Nazi, walking past them, and just like he even grabs a tray off someone at one point, grabs food and sits down so he doesn't get recognized. It's that self-belief. It's like if you look worried or look nervous or look shifty, you'll get picked up more. And I thought that was
the
like
Zeppelin scene all over again, isn't it? When he just decks the officer, he's like, no ticket.
And everyone starts showing the tickets.
Yeah.
Well, it still had the Indy humor. Like, I love the humor. Like the bit where at the auction in the hotel in where was it? Marrakesh? Is it? No,
Morocco.
Morocco, that was it.
Morocco.
And Indy just like said that having that like back and forth for the dial, and he pulls out the whip and starts whipping it at all these bad guys, and they just stop and look at him and go, just pull their guns out. So it's like a callback to like Raiders when they have that big fight, and the guy pulls out all the sword and stuff. So it's kind of like backfired on Indy a little bit this time.
Yeah, there's some. I heard you chuckling away. I heard you chuckling away to it.
I was slightly disappointed because when I hear like underground auction party, I'm expecting something a bit more lavish and like him sneaking around, but they kind of just went straight there.
You just walked straight in. Straight in. You've got no idea who these people are. Like, and
I was hoping we might
like
see like some artifacts or like references in the background or some like funny stuff, but they might have saved that for the start when he was like in the museum room. I'm sure people will go through and everything.
When he was in the archive room, I bet people do look through it and see. I've just watched a TikTok before we came on of a guy who had the Ark of the Covenant, the actual prop from the movie.
The actual real one, fuck.
From the movie. His dad won it at auction years ago, and he just said it just used to sit. It was like a coffee table, just sit in the middle of the room. I thought it was pretty cool, but did not see it in this one.
No.
What do you think they nailed it. It's still nailed up in the warehouse. They showed it in the fourth one.
Yes, it's still there.
Yes, they did. But we don't talk about the fourth film.
I was there at the cinema for that fourth film. I have suffered.
I'll be back for the fourth one. What do you think of the cameos in this movie, though?
Oh, wow.
I love that guy coming back from the first one.
Can I right, Ronaldo. Okay. You've got Antonio Banderas as this jaded old sea shanty. He's there for all of 10 minutes, and that is it.
Before?
Now, question is, right, he's been in it for all of 10, 15 minutes, right? Why the fuck is he front and center on the main poster?
No, he really is.
Banderas?
Yes, but it's like, oh, it's Antonio Banderas. You have 6 words throughout the film, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right, front and center on the, and I'm just, it baffled me because I had to do a double take, and I was like, is he from the? Oh no, it's Antonio Banderas. I was like, oh, cool, yeah.
No, that didn't register for me.
No, it did not. No, it wasn't until it was clean on his face. Like I was like, oh yeah. But
do you know what I thought it was? I thought it was Ducky from Raiders.
Oh right, okay.
I genuinely thought it was that, and then I saw it's Antonio Banderas. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be cool. Gonna have Antonio."
But he served a good purpose, though. He served a good purpose.
Yeah, he did.
His death meant a lot to Indy and stuff, and like it showed that side because Indy killed a lot of people throughout these movies. Like let's not play anybody. He's not an angel, but the first time we're actually seeing him lose someone and actually take it back.
It hit him.
Yeah.
Because death is obviously...
normally people just get kidnapped and then he gets them later.
Yeah, but death is obviously a forefront with him, given that he lost his son, and now he's gone and lost a friend. Like he's losing people around him.
Yeah.
While he's still, it's like he can't win.
No.
Whether he be this saddened out Indy who just goes to work, come home, or whether he be the adventurous Indiana Jones that we all know him as, he can't win at this moment because he's lost on both sides.
Yeah.
And I was glad. I knew like Sal was going to come back, so that was always.
He had such a presence. I was disappointed when he didn't go on the adventure with him.
Me too. I thought he was going to just.
I mean, he's a bit of a scene stealer, but I was like, oh, he brings like such good energy.
I just leaned into Michael and went, "It's Gimli."
when he was leaving Indy's apartment and he was singing HMS Pinafore, me and Sammy were just like laughing. Oh, British star is a sign. Like, yes,
I think when he first came on the screen, I think the pair of us were going, "Oh my god!" And then
but I mean, I'm going to say it now. I now have a thing for Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
All right.
Okay, right.
It's them adventuring pants, isn't it?
That white outfit that got me.
I can't explain it. I was like, oh damn, and it's like it was an awakening within me. So that's all I've got to add to that. Move on.
The only thing with her character, I don't think she had as much of a journey as I was expecting, because she was going from like money grabbing to then convincing Indy to come back with them, and then not feeling the convince to then strike them out. But
that kind of made sense in a way, because it was like, oh, I need like some kind of family when we come back from this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right, Paul. Like, I get the feeling like if they did anything else with her, she would just be exactly the same, kind of like, oh, I've got your watch type of character, you know?
Yeah.
Like a female Nathan Drake in the Indiana Jones universe, or female Chloe. Female Chloe? An actual Chloe. God damn
it. I tell you, Toby Jones, I just wish we saw more of him. I wish we saw more flashbacks. I wish we because if he's breakdown, going from seeing it manifest in front. I would love to see more of that.
They could have afforded it because the amount of money they put into CGI Harrison Ford to look younger, it fucked the budget there and then.
Fucked it up. But I did love Toby Jones, and I love Toby Jones to start with. I think he's a fantastic actor. But can somebody please tell me where Newcastle was in there?
The start.
The start.
The castle. That was Bamborough Castle.
Was it?
Yeah.
Nazi castle.
That was the Nazi castle. You know, when when he was getting hanged, where it was really. Can I say Harrison Ford is the strongest neck in the world by any chance?
Massively.
Can swing by his neck and it doesn't snap. But that was
Bamborough Castle.
It was Bamborough, and then they did scenes in, I think it was Gromont. Near Whitby as well. Basically, yeah. So it was Bamborough Castle. I thought it was Alnwick. I thought they were doing something in Alnwick as well.
Bamborough and Alnwick was everything that was basically filmed in the first half, where they de-aged India up until the train. Like that was all filmed in the northeast.
Oh right, I see it.
That's why it had Brexit vibes with all the Nazis.
I see it now. I've just Googled Bamborough Castle and I see, yeah. Oh, that's impressive.
What Daily Mail train.
What did you guys think of like the action? Because like I thought it was easy to follow, which is good for like modern movies, because like sometimes they're a bit like all over, like shaky cam. And I don't, apart from the hanging and the bomb exploding, there was a few very close explosions that would have killed everyone. But like I thought it was like fairly accurate, and like Harrison Ford wasn't doing like anything like crazy that you wouldn't expect an old man, because he basically didn't punch anyone, which Indy punches a lot of people, but they held back on that.
It was very practical effect, because I know they wanted to lean heavily into practical effects, which is something that's always a benefit. But the way they blended CGI into the practical effects was almost seamless, especially the car chase in Marrakesh. It was very seamless, and I think in all the action scenes, I think they were done rather well. But it was very, with the CGI, it was very Indiana Jones.
I thought the car chase scenes was the best car chase scenes we've had in years. Like, some of it, it wasn't overplayed or overstated. It was very cleverly done. Like when he was driving the little tuk-tuks through, that was just brilliant. And like the near misses, the ones that didn't work for me was like the horse on the subway. I thought that was, kind of weird.
I was worried for the horse all the way through that scene, I'm not gonna lie.
How fast can you gallop?
I thought the horse running through the streets was interesting, but when it went down the subway, I was like, okay, now this is going to realm.
It was a bit unnecessary and not totally indie. I mean, he gets in some silly situations, like, you know, going underneath cars and stuff, but he's not known for like that kind of silly.
It was the near misses.
I think the other thing that I kind of didn't, that took us out a little bit, was the sea snakes, the eels, when they went into the ship, and then all of a sudden all these eels start attacking Indy. And I was like,
that was a bit like I'm sure they could have found another way to get the snake reference.
And actually just use snakes. There was a few sound effects that caught my ears. One of them being the screams coming from the
Wilhelm scream right there. I think me and Sammy were like, "Hey!"
I nearly missed it. That was when I was coming back in with the lady.
I heard it. It was brilliant.
Picture optics.
I heard it.
There was something. Like a squeak from a spider.
From the spider.
Yes. Spider squeak. I went, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That was a good callback to Temple of Doom as well, when they were going through the tunnel and all the centipedes and stuff start crawling.
Well, it was actually, it was sort of a double callback as well, because in the first one, like, you know, like in the intro sequence, that guy gets like covered in spiders, and Indy's like, hang on, and just like wipes him off his back. But yeah, like,
Indy's a big fraidy cat, really, isn't he?
I mean, I would be as well. I'm not gonna lie.
I just crap myself.
The whipping of the eels' tails, though, they kind of made me feel very uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable.
Too wiggly.
I don't. It's half the reason I'm scared of birds for is because of the wing motion. I don't like that. So the fact that their tails were like whipping all over the place, I was like, I don't know. That made me feel a bit funny.
Yeah. Now, like say the run time for the film as well. I know I felt it was a long film, and normally I think it probably could have had about I wouldn't say too much could have, but probably about 20 minutes to 25 minutes trimmed off here and there, and it would have flowed a little bit easier.
Yeah, I thought exactly the same. I am not a young'un anymore, and I get very restless. I can't sit still. And my legs go all over the place, and I got tired in the middle of it. Like I felt myself getting really tired, and I was like, my eyes were closing, and I think they were closed for a good few minutes at one point.
I think and I'm going to be honest with you, they could have cut the parade chase.
I thought that looked spectacular, but
it looked fantastic.
I love the whole look of the parade and everything. I was getting proper Captain American vibes off that whole scene right there.
It looked fantastic, but I think it was superfluous. And I think that it would have been.
If we're going to talk about superfluous, you could have cut Indy out of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it would have ended.
Oh yes. Well, I think cutting that out would have been beneficial for it, because I think it was a pointless scene. Yes, you need to get a chase scene. Yes, they need to escape, but it just. I
feel like they would have all got arrested as well for running around like that. It would have been way more presence.
Yeah, the police didn't give a shit, did they?
I mean, the shots fired. If someone fires a gun in the middle of New York during a parade, and the police are just sat on a horse going, "Hey!" and it's just like someone's like someone.
Oh, got some feedback.
Oh yeah, everyone went quiet there. But it just felt like. Yeah, I just, if anything, that was the scene they needed to cut. They would have just got the dial. I will not be able to pronounce the name unless I see it about 50 more times. But they would have got the dial and then just left.
Oh, can anyone see it?
No. Was there a thing as well where like the Helen, was it Helen the character or Wombat? Like where she like stashed it on the roof, but then it never showed her going back for it, or was I making that up?
I think she looked. I think she looked at the dial and was like, "Ha ha!"
Right.
Then it cut to the bad guys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
like Goodwill says, like that part was a bit messy. The whole like chase out of the museum-y college type of thing.
Yeah, because obviously if there's a car chase and there's a big van and there's people being shot
and a horse chase
and a horse chase and the police are just like, hey, that's happening, isn't it?
Hey.
It just wouldn't.
Let's go and get some donuts.
It's like, oh yeah, Neil Armstrong there, and I'm just like, right. And it's just, it wasn't needed.
Yeah. And did anyone at the end when they found Archimedes' tomb? Did anyone else's eyes roll when they look at his skull and they find a watch?
A Nazi watch, apparently.
The scene. Sorry, go on.
No, go. All I was going to say is just I'm like living in the moment, so I'm not overthinking everything, and I'm kind of like, oh god, there's a watch there, and then oh god, that's the what. Like that's how I think when I'm watching stuff like that. It's not until later that I reflect and go, oh yeah, that was a bit silly.
Yeah.
There was obviously we see Archimedes' tomb, and he's got a wristwatch, and then obviously Mads' character when he's getting dressed into his uniform, and it just overly focuses. It's just like, look what he's putting on, and I said to you, Jake, didn't I? I was like, that's the watch.
Yeah.
But I thought in that scene, because on the tomb, like there was decorated with like flying dragons with propellers.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been enough to say, oh, okay, something's happening here. Or
that was very subtle.
That would have been a nice little sort of. I think the watch thing was a little bit like treating the audience a little bit stupid at times as well, saying, "Oh, this is what happens." But I loved the change up of it all, because they all thought like the dial was basically to go anywhere in time. But it wasn't. It was only to bring them to that specific time to save Archimedes, and I thought that was very, very well done. I enjoyed that bit.
Yeah,
I wanted to talk about the ending.
The puzzles weren't like super interesting to me. Like, and I was hoping for like some more like traps and stuff because like that's just Indiana. I don't care if it makes sense or not to trap Archimedes too. That's just like Indiana Jones, like the avoiding pressure plates and like the kind of just like quickly got through like anything that was like even resembled a sort of like a mystery. I definitely would have liked more danger. I think
I do love a good indie puzzle.
Yeah. Even just like stupid things where it's like, you can only stand on these stones.
Only the
man shall pass.
But it kind of worked out the thing as well. It's like Archimedes was obsessed with water and like the rising of water. I was like, all right, and so he was a toddler going in the bath.
It seems like he would have figured that out pretty quick.
Like you put stuff in water rises. But but no, I thought that bit was done, and I can understand the reasoning for Indy wanting to stay, but the venomous belief that he should stay behind it didn't quite ring true to me as well. That was like
didn't make sense to me for Indy's character, because like how like up until this movie, did anyone know that he was obsessed with the siege of Syracuse and Archimedes and stuff? It just made it's sort of like it was shoehorned in, and then he's like, "I'm going to stay," and like any good archaeologist would be like, "Well, I could contaminate the timeline if I did that."
And didn't they always do like a Nazi plane exploding there? Or they're going to take things apart then, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Crazy Germans shooting Romans on boats with machine guns.
That was pretty funny.
What they were trying to portray is just the grief side of it.
Like he just wanted to disappear.
Exactly. It could have been anywhere, and he probably would have wanted to stay. He just did not want to go back to that life. And he was being chased and being done for murder. That's went away pretty quickly when he went home.
Yeah, I guess the CIA
wasn't brought up again.
I guess the CIA was kind of involved, so I guess that kind of smooths that whole thing. But yeah, like you're right. Like I guess they didn't show enough of why if his attitude's changing, because you're right. Like in the first movie, he's like very realist about stuff. Like the guy's like is like the English professor guy he just sits with for a little while. He's like, no, this is like pretty dangerous stuff, like the Ark of the Covenant. Like, and he's like, you really believe in that like magic stuff? And he's like, it's just an archaeological find. Like, it belongs in a museum. Like, he was very like a realist about archaeology. It felt like he wasn't like, romanticizing the past. That was more like what his mentor did and got in trouble and stuff like that.
And
yeah, good point.
But as a whole, it didn't. If anyone, because I'm not going to shit on this movie, I would definitely not. It's probably on the same level of Temple of Doom for me, because I think Temple of Doom is one of the weaker ones. I think it's up there. Did we need this movie? No, but I am glad we've got it because it'll give people less negative things to say, and I liked the ending as well, especially with Marion. Like that was the big cameo that. I think they've kept secret. Like we didn't know that she was going to come back as well.
Well, I've gone into this not seeing any trailers, not one. Didn't even know what the title was.
Right.
Just knew it was Indiana Jones. I've literally gone into it with nothing, and my God, do I feel better for doing that?
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. It was a fun movie. It was nice to see Harrison Ford looking happy for a fucking change. Like, even though the undertones and everything was miserable, you could tell he was having fun doing that. And it's been a long time since we've seen Harrison Ford look like that. I think we got a glimpse of it in the Star Wars movies towards the end, because it was the end again, this being the end. But it's just nice. It's nice to see that from him.
I'm surprised
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well, because talking about the Star Wars movies and like killing them off like that, I thought we were going to see the end of Indy. I thought
Me too.
He did get shot in the chest at some point.
But he did say he'd been shot 9 times. So I was
10th,
like, and I was like, oh God, this is like the 10th one. Does that mean all of his lives are up now? And oh, this is it. And then no, not at all.
This was, I think this was a it needed to happen
Mm-hmm.
because Crystal Skull left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were like, I honestly believe that they've acknowledged that, and they're like, okay, here's a proper ending. We're going to subvert your expectations throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to let you believe one thing is going to happen, but it won't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, God damn it, Disney, with your fishhole closing scenes with the hat.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay.
What do we think about the hat?
I just think he was going to bang her in his hat. He's just like,
yeah, I don't think it means anything.
Wow. He's going
I
to
think it's like
I like the hat. The hat was hung up, so I was like, okay, the hat's hung up. And then when they pulled it back in, I was like,
no, he's just going.
I think I know why.
I'm just doing some role play with Marion.
It was like, can you wear the Mr. Plow jacket type of thing? You know,
I
like
think I know why.
Okay.
I think I know why they've done this. So at the end of The Last Crusade, he picks up the hat. At the end of The Crystal Skull, his son takes the hat.
And then he grabs it back
up.
Yeah.
As a symbol of passing the torch, he takes the hat back. Everyone knows that the Wombat character, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, if it is a success, that's where they want to go with it.
Mm.
And I think they were clever to say that, not give her the hat like they did with Shia LaBeouf, but to basically say, he takes the hat back because this is who he is.
Mm.
This person will be a completely different identity. They will be in the same universe, but they are going to be completely different. So they're not passing the torch.
Mm-hmm.
They will most likely tell different stories in a different character in that same world, which I think a lot of shows need to do. You don't need to do the passing of the torch anymore. You don't need to say, oh, you're Iron Man now, you're Captain America now. It's just basically you're a different character, but you're in the same universe. You've got your own stories to tell. And I liken it to, I know you guys probably, I know Jake, I don't think you've played them, the Uncharted games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where it was like, this is the end of Nathan Drake. And it's like, okay. But then they did a spin-off, but it was like, there was no torch passing or anything like that. It was just like,
not with
these are separate characters in that world that have got their own unique traits. So we don't need to pass anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting if they do go down that Wombat route, because bearing in mind, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is writing Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So it's like she's going to be doing 2 archaeological adventure shows, or one movie and one thing. So
you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen in the next few years. I'm not going to say it's instantly going to happen, but in the next few years with Disney Plus, the way that it is, we're getting a fucking Indiana Jones TV show somewhere down the road.
But that's what I was going to ask, because all the way through I was watching this movie, I would say, because it did feel like a long movie. I would have liked this as not a like a full season, like a 3-part TV show.
Miniseries.
Like a miniseries.
It would have been nice to break it up.
It would have been breaking up in parts, and then you could have had, like as you said, a middle part where you get more backstory for the other characters that were interesting. But again, that's what we're getting now with, like, so we're being kind of greedy in a way, because a lot of the shows that we're watching are movie quality. Like if you look at Picard season 3, that was like a season-long movie, and every single character got time to shine, and you can't do that with a 2-hour, an hour and a half movie now. It's like these are the stars, and it's kind of making us greedy and saying we want more, like, type thing.
It would have been nice. Oh, sorry, Michael. I keep interrupting you.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it would have been nice, given that this is his farewell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's been very clear on the junkets that, you know, he's not coming. He's being very emotional about it as well.
Yeah, it's like a retirement tour, like his interviews, basically.
And it's been lovely and sad at the same time, but it would have been very nice for his farewell of the last big character he's known for, to break it up into parts, just so we had a chance to like space this out and kind of like, you know, enjoy it, because this is like, really sad now. He's no longer going to be Han Solo. He's no longer going to be Indiana Jones. He doesn't really have like any other big named characters. Like these 2 characters are iconic. Yep. Like absolutely iconic.
I think that's why I don't think it would work either with like I don't think you could spin off, because it's called Indiana Jones. So unless you do young Indiana Jones, like that cartoon,
I'm happy with
like
do a young.
They had a full series. They had a full live action series. It was one of the most expensive shows
but like
it
this,
was
like
trailered on one of my videos.
Yeah, like the Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, like just I don't think anyone would care. They didn't push her well enough. Like there's a thing in wrestling, if you're gonna bring in a new character, you got to have them come in strong, and she didn't come in like super strong.
She didn't come in like Phoebe from Ghostbusters.
Or like in the first Indiana Jones, like, you know, is now, as we saw, wife, like she comes in super strong into that movie. Like she could have carried our own if that was a one and done thing. She could have went off and done a spin-off because it was like written strong enough. But
is it Karen Allen?
Yeah, Karen Allen.
Yeah.
But I think with any type of like indie, if you are going to do it, I think the only type like I like the idea of doing it in Indy's world, not Indiana Jones, but I probably wouldn't care as much if you went back and done a young Indiana Jones show now. There's like I say, not all the CGI. Keep it practical. Keep it simple. Keep them looking like local history, local things. Like get them on that Curse of Oak Island, find that treasure. Indy would get it in not 10 years of fucking digging. Get over it. There's nothing there.
But it's like people like that kind of thing. It's like that's why D&D is so popular. People like a world that is like
world building
that has mystery as well. That is like, oh, there's just a temple in the desert that you could dig up, and there's like crazy stuff inside. Like people love that kind of world.
Oh,
so like indie, like as a sort of thing, has legs, but I think without the name and the character, like I don't
potentially.
think do it.
I mean, didn't they want to? I know after Last Crusade, because obviously River Phoenix was in that as young Indy, and I think if I read somewhere that that's the direction they were going to go in, that would have been Harrison Ford's last hurrah, and it would have been River Phoenix carrying it on from there. But obviously, with what happened.
But they did in the series, they did the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which if I really hope it's coming to the British Disney Plus, because it is on American Disney Plus. But they did continue with that. But
I just realized I was mixing it up with James Bond Jr. That was a cartoon.
James Bond. But
sorry. Nice one.
For me, Indiana Jones is yes, the TV. I love the TV series. I love the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I love Due South.
Goodwill has seen all of the TV. That's what we've established.
All of the TV.
The problem is with Indiana Jones, its main wheelhouse is a large cinematic story. It's with its set pieces. What you have to understand and what you have to realize is with Indiana Jones, it has inspired some of the best TV shows and games. Because you've had Indiana Jones, you've had Uncharted, you've had Tomb Raider, you've had other stuff on television. You know, I mean, Sky did one called Hooten and the Lady, which
probably even Zelda as well, because like that's got
that's forgetting Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone as well. I think for Indiana Jones to be self-contained,
national treasure.
A national treasure. But for Indiana Jones to be self-contained and just that's it, it's done, I would be fine with that. It's the inspiration and the drive that it inspires people to make their own stuff, like Tomb Raider, like Uncharted, because we don't have to go back to that world, but we've got these other worlds that we could explore. And you know, Uncharted is just Indiana Jones. Let's be honest with that. With
Tom Holland,
with a lot more puzzles.
Yeah, with a lot more puzzles, and to make that to make that as a movie didn't work because we already have Indiana Jones. If they made that as a series, So
just my question I wanted to ask about this as well, because it's interesting because what you're talking about now is like the legacy that Indiana Jones has like left behind, and this is.
But I guess it's still around, so it's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
So this is basically added to that legacy. Has it? What I think a lot of the online community, and rightly or wrongly, before even seeing the movie, were worried that was this going to taint it, or was this going to add to it? In your opinion, has this tainted to the legacy or added to the legacy of Indiana Jones?
It's added to it. I think after the Crystal Skull, I think they couldn't go any lower, and I think this has been the redemption movie.
Right.
This has been this is the final one, and they wrapped it up. This has been their redemption movie.
it's kind of like a replacement, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
It's like so, but yeah, like I agree. Like I think it's at least like smoothed over the ride. You've got your like 80s movies, and then this is like the bow on it kind of thing.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
I don't feel as strongly about Crystal Skull as Michael does. I have there's a lot of love that I have for it. But I do think this is a lovely ending, and it just added to it. It didn't take anything away from it. Like I said, I feel like there's blueprints in there for all of them that just, and this movie kind of hit beats of it as it went along, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It did. It was very like formulaic, as in, you have your intro adventure, then you flash forward, like it was very much like, and then you have your crazy. Then you have your crazy end reveal.
Exactly, but you knew where you were at each point of the movie. I knew we were coming to the end when them two were in with the eels, because I'm like, all right, okay, we're at this point now.
So I knew where the thing.
Yes. So I knew where but I'm not mad at that. No. I'm not mad that I knew where I was because of these other movies that have guided us to that point. For me, it's easy watching because my brain can't take a lot in, so I that's why I think I enjoyed it a lot. I just thought it was like a really good fun movie.
Like the old ones were like love letters to those like adventure serial things. It would be like all crazy stunts and stuff, and then I guess this one was like it's love letter to itself in a weird way.
Very much so.
But they definitely tried to keep the spirit, and like it showed, I think.
I think the only word I would use, and I'm not using this as a negative, so if anyone's listening, I'm not saying this as a bad thing. This is probably a very safe movie. It doesn't take any major 100%. Risks or anything where it is Indiana Jones tick the boxes. But sometimes that's what you want. As I said before, take 25 minutes out of the movie. I probably would enjoy it more, would flow better, and you would come out feeling energized rather than a bit sleepy, as I think a lot of us were.
My ass was killing us.
So, as I think, is there anything that you like really didn't like about the movie, or anything that, like, other than Short Round 2, that was the only thing that I thought I didn't gel with?
No, I agree, and it would have been lovely just given, and I know they can't foresee the success that Keyes had over the last year, but it would have been so special to actually have Key Honcho, am I saying that right? Keyes, having Key was like in there as Short Round. That would have just, I don't know how they would have fitted it in. It just would have been lovely, like just to round everything off, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that was the only thing that was missing, but I didn't think the film needed the little kid sidekick, or he didn't add to anything. That was the only thing I would take out.
He was there for the final act.
That's all. Yeah, absolutely. He was just a means to put into places to do something.
Yeah, because they didn't even really like pay off anything he ever said, because he was like, I can't swim, and then later on he just swam. Like I know he was struggling, but like they didn't really give him any like development or anything.
It's he's practicing to fly in a plane, then he flies a plane. So
yeah. He was just a means for something to happen. He was there.
Yes. So out of 5, because I like to say out of these ratings, like say we're going to try and do out of 5. So what would you rate it out of 5 then? So we'll go with Goodwill because he looked deep in thought there.
4 out of 5.
Okay.
I went into this very much like Sammy. Like I saw one trailer and that was it. I saw nothing else because again I was that burnt by the Crystal Skull. My expectations were low.
Yeah, I was scared.
So I went in and I was like, right, I'm not gonna be a bastard. I'm not gonna be judgmental. I'm just gonna watch it for what it is.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, it was formulaic. Yes, it was safe. But I think that's what they needed, and that's what most of the audience was expecting from an Indiana Jones film. They want the formulaic, good payoff action set pieces, because they want what reminds them of the original trilogy. So I would say 4 out of 5.
Cool. What about you, Jake?
3 out of 5. But like a 3 as in like, it's slightly better than half score. Because top 5. But yeah, it was just like everyone said, it's kind of like it was what you expected. Hopefully it smoothed out the bump in the road that was Crystal Skull. Kind of replaced it as like a 4th indie movie, if you want to go that way. But yeah, like the CGI kind of was like creeped me out at the start, but yeah, like it was fun once you got into it. Little long as everyone said as well, but yeah, a strong 3.
Cool. Sammy?
I'm gonna agree with Michael and go 4.
Oh,
I've walked out of this thoroughly happy. I'm not. I feel like it's a nice goodbye, a sad goodbye, but it is a goodbye nonetheless, and I'm happy with what I got.
Cool. No, I'm with Jake. I'm probably a 3. It's probably the Indiana Jones we should have got 10 years ago, when it didn't feel as sad. It wouldn't have felt as sad as we did, but I know why we got it the way we did. And I'm glad I got to say goodbye to the character, if that is the goodbye. And it's a nice way to say it. And I can't wait to buy the Steelbook to go with my collection to finish off as well. So, or whatever Lego set to bring out.
Collectors delight that.
Like the ending of
a franchise.
Yeah, going to Bamber Castle. Yeah, we'll all get fedoras.
Road trip.
Yes,
so have we wrapped up?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed spending time with you guys as well. So that's always a positive.
That's the fun part.
Going to see an adventure movie with friends is a good time, for sure.
But the only problem is afterwards we have to run away from each other because we can't talk.
We can't speak to each other. It's just like, right.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye.
I was saying we should just do it in the car next time. We'll hold up the phone and everyone just sits in the back and stuff. We'll just get instant reaction.
We can do it in Michael's car because Michael's car's a hell of a lot cleaner than mine.
Backseat chats.
Backseat podcasting.
fake goodwill taxi. Yeah.
On that note, yes. So
on that note, yes. We're gonna so this Sunday.
Yes.
It is Always Sunny. I'm very excited for this one.
Yes.
Very excited. Who's on?
We've got Jake, Adam, the hunk of the podcast, who
the giant Adam himself.
Yeah,
10.5 foot bear that he is.
Yeah, the giant man who everyone's like fawning over, wanting to lick. No one wants to lick Goodwill anymore. It's all licking at Adam now.
Good.
Okay.
And we've got Sonia on as well. So yes.
Excellent. A good strong cast for Sunday. This Monday for Monsters, it's Predator with our very special guest, Creature from the Black Tattoo.
Yes.
Gareth is joining us.
Not from the royal family like I kept on saying yesterday.
No, Gareth is joining us. It's a really good episode. We do get some Predator talk in there, but we do go off the track a fair bit. But it is a fun episode.
Cool. And Goodwill might or might not be live next Friday, depending on. But I believe the Twitch brothers will be twitching at some point this week as well.
I will be twitching on Tuesday. I've spoken to Shaunette today, and he was like, "I hope it went well. I'm in the middle of a field." Right. I'm like, "Okay, bless him."
He looks like he's having a good time.
He does. That shirt is amazing. If no one's seen it yet,
beautiful.
So we might be live. I don't know. I have to. We have to see if he escapes the forest alive.
And I'll be debuting a new interview show on Wednesday. Yes. Hopefully, if it's all edited, it just needs a little bit of extra spice. So we're talking a Slide and Sloop with one of our streamer friends, and hopefully we're going to start talking to other online people just about what they do and how they get on, and we'll steal ideas from them and absorb them into Nerdy Up North to become better.
We're all about stealing the ideas apparently, but that's fine. But yes.
So yeah, good episode.
So so that's our review on Indiana Jones. A nice farewell, shall we say, to a happy friend.
Thank you, Harrison Ford.
Yes, and please do another Blade Runner because I still want to see Decker.
Never seen.
Yeah, and want to see Batista in those little glasses again.
So join us tomorrow night at 7:30. Like I say, I know not many people will probably be watching this episode until they've seen the movie.
Yeah,
we do appreciate the spoilers, but yes, like I say, like a fine wine, I will always enjoy Indiana Jones for all my life. Yes. So same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Good luck.